Well, it's 3 o'clock, so I think we'll make a start. Good afternoon to everybody who's joining us. My name's Dave Smith. I'm the host for this afternoon session, which is a presentation by Carl and Mark from Trainsporters, who will be talking about their wonderful storage and transport system for your precious models. A couple of things which I will mention for those of you who may not be familiar with Zoom. Could I ask you please to keep your microphones muted? I mean, at the moment there's only about 6 or 7 us on, but you get too many people on and they've all got the microphone switched on. It gets a bit annoying for the presenters if they keep getting interrupted with noise. So if you can keep your microphones muted, please. If you want to ask any questions, there is the chat facility, which is the little speech bubble at the bottom of the screen there, which says chat. Click on that, and you can type in a question, which I shall see. And in fact, I think Mark, are you still in the back office, Mark, answering questions or?
Yeah, we're all raring to go, Dave.
Right, okay. And as I just mentioned, the session is being recorded, and I don't think, looking along the people who are taking part, I can't see that we have any juveniles on there, but if there are any, I am legally obliged to mention to you that you do need parental permission to be recorded. And the same goes for anybody who doesn't particularly want their image to be on the recording. If you'd like to just click on your stop video symbol down the bottom, then it takes your picture off. So I'll hand you over to Mark and Carl, who will talk about their product.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Brilliant. Well, we'll join you once again for this afternoon session. We've got 45 minutes with you. And what we'll do is we'll show you the boxes that we've produced for O gauge and also double O gauge. We'll quickly get those in towards the end. Just to show you exactly what we produce for the O gauge stock, and the stock will be anything from locomotives, coaching stock, and wagons. We initially saw the company a couple of years ago from the experience from our own railway club at Hillingdon, our famous layout, Grimley Brook. We found that when we was doing exhibitions with the guys, that the practice of taking stock in and out of particular boxes became quite a job for most cases, and sometimes could take a couple of hours. So I was looking at this. Initially, we started off the company thinking that we'd go into the double O gauge boxes first, but found that there was really not that much for O gauge stock. So, and that's just where it's gone, and it's carried on from there. And now we do the double O gauge stuff. To start off with, we'll show you a box. If you purchase a box, how it will be presented to you, and we'll show you the contents and how the boxes work as well. So I'll show you one of the boxes that we've got. It's probably one of our most popular boxes. Green box. It's for all O gauge stock, and comes in a nice strong box, secure lids, labelling all round as well, which we'll show you. Just show you as we go. Right, so lids that lock, the lid there with the labelling as well, which will give you the contents. You can write in whatever you want with regards to you put into your boxes, wherever it is, so you can have a description of what you've got inside. You have that label there. There'll be one also on the end of the box as well, at the sides, and there you go, just there as well. Inside the box, you'll have silica gel. Now, we know a lot of people have their layouts either in sheds or lofts or basements and things like that. So with the silica gel, this will give you an indication if there's any moisture problems in the boxes or in the environment of where you keep your stock. Tube sleeving, which comes in with the box as well. We supply enough of that to fulfill all the stock that goes in your boxes, and you can cut that relevantly as you want to. As you open up the box, take the sleeves away, there's the gel. Most important part of the box is the foam. So you've got a top layer, and then inside the box you'll have two main box layers, one which is 35 millimeters, which I'll go through that with you as regards to access to your stock, and then the main base layer, which will show you is just there, which is in this particular box is 60 millimeters in depth. And then of course you've got another base layer. So the stock that you hold in the box is secured all the way around with foam. So it's fully protected from all angles. So that's what you'll get in your box. All back just there. It's all nice and neat. Back on. So we've got, as regards to O gauge, we've got 5 different types of boxes available. We'll once again show you those as we go through this 45-minute start. And then we'll show you how the stock goes into each box as well. And just gives you an idea what stock you can put in particular boxes. Now, not all the boxes are as deep as this one. We've also got 20-litre boxes, which are slightly shallower, and you can use those for mineral wagons or low loaders, that sort of thing as well. The other thing is we do produce a different type of box. Every box that we have holds the same footprint. So when it comes to storage, you can stack them on top of each other, and the lids and the bottoms will interlock as well. There's a ridge just there, which helps with safe storage, so you don't have any trouble with anything knocking over. I'll show you the extra strong box just so you can get an idea of what that looks like too. So the extra strong boxes are not clear. They are of a white plastic. I'll just show you the contents of this one as well, actually. So it's exactly the same as the clear box. It's just a stronger plastic, but it doesn't mean to say that the dimensions within the box are any different. So you don't lose any spacing at all, as you would do with the clear boxes as well. But when you store the stock in your box, just to show you how you can store it out, there's some low loader wagons just in there, and that's how you can set it out. You can set it out any way you want. The blocks of foam that we supply, which come from the slots, you can cut those out and do whatever you want with those, just to secure any stock that you have inside. I hope you can see that clearly enough. Yeah. So that's the idea. Put it back on there. At this point, I'd like to say that for all of those that are logging in at the moment, if you do make a purchase today, we do have a 10% discount. If you just put the GOG06 code in, and I'll give you a 10% discount today. I'd like to see if you can see that clearly. Yeah. Just make sure that everybody can see that so they get the discount today. That will also be, go forward for tomorrow as well. So that holds the whole weekend. Okay. All right. If you've got any questions at all, is yet Mark at all or anything?
No questions yet.
No questions yet. So what we do, we'll take a box out and do a quick demonstration to show you how quick and simple it is to use the boxes. So once again, secure lid with the label on, and off it goes. Top base layer, secure the top of the stock. And inside this box, we've got some card coaches just here. Make sure you can see that as clearly. Hope everybody can see that clearly. If you can't see anything, please just let us know. We'll make sure that we will adjust our cameras if we need to as well. So I'll take a coach out per slot. Well, what we'll do is show you the different layers of foam as well. If you take a block from this particular box here, which is the red box, so that's from the top foam. I'll just show you the blocks as they are. They're pre-cut, so if you don't want to be cutting them, hopefully that will be the right size for you for when you sort of try and make sure that your stock is not rolling around and is secure. And then you can take that top layer of foam off. So just give you an idea of the blocks. But in this way, where we split the foam, it makes it much more easier for you to get access to your stock. As I say, there are a couple of different depths, but we'll show you that within the content of this show. All right, so we'll take a coach out. The coach is in one of our clear plastic sleeving. You can see that clearly. I'm securing it by both sides with my fingers just to make sure it doesn't roll out of the sleeving. Track in front of us. And roll onto the track. And there you go. And of course, you can do that with whatever you have in the box as well. So it's as quick and it's quite simple as regards to taking the stock in and out of the box. And that's the whole idea of the concept of the boxes as well, to make things much more easier to take in and out of the boxes, so you're not faffing around with packaging, etc., etc. Once again, I'll do that in reverse just to show you how quickly you can get stock back and away. Roll the coach back into the sleeve. There you go. Fingers to the sides and back into the slot. There you go. And all that done within a couple of seconds. No messing about. Job done. More time for playing with trains and less time with packaging stock in and out of boxes. Now, when we've done the shows in the past, or we've had track days, our own club, we've also had people come. I had one guy that turned up with a television box, which was a flat screen, and he actually adapted that to put his stock in. Fantastic idea. You know, everybody's got their own ideas and concepts to what to do. So, you know, it's for everybody to make their own decisions on what they do, really. But this is just a quick and simple and safe way of holding your stock. So put the top layer back in. There you go. Top block back in. Top sheet. Lid. Job done. Your way. Simple as that.
Do you want to explain, well, as Carl mentioned earlier on, we're actually modellers in the double O gauge team at Hillingdon.
I do apologise for that.
Railway Modellers Club. But we go along and support the Grinley Brook group with their fantastic layout. And we just saw that it was actually taking them up to 2 hours to pack their locomotives back up. It was actually quite easy for them to unpack because you had the box and you just went one box at a time. But the biggest problem when they were repacking at the end was finding the right box for the wagon once they'd unpacked them all and stuck them in various boxes. So what we found with this is it saves them a significant amount of time and angst. And it means we get back up on the road a lot more quickly and get back to the club at a reasonable time rather than midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, which is always a benefit for everybody.
And also with the labelling as well, it allows you to sort of label your own boxes. There's no confusion with whose box is whose as well. So each box can be set up so it's individual, so there's no confusion. Otherwise, people get upset when somebody's lost their carriage or wagon. So, right. So this next demonstration here is to show you the stock inside the slots, just to give you an idea of the different heights and adjustments that you can make. I'll start off with the first box that we produced, which was the blue box, which is TSO30. Now, the slot itself, which holds the stock, is 61 millimeters in width. And that was primarily for, as we found, was for wagons or narrow coaches. At our club, we have got a member of our club that has Caledonian stock, which is a lot of it was hand built or kit. It worked very well in the 61 width. Then we go up to
boxes from the same place.
Lots as well.
iPhone Matt, would it be possible to mute your microphone, please? We've got a lot of background noise coming in from your mic. Somebody described as iPhone Matt.
I can mute him.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So going back to the slots and the different variations, how we use them. As I said, the blue box, which is the TSO 30, 61 millimeter slot. The depth of the actual slot itself, the main base foam, is 80 millimeters, and then the split foam, which goes on the top to allow easy access, that's another 35 millimeters on top. So once again, giving you much better access to anything that goes in. So that gives you the principle of a wagon in that particular box. And then with the 35 millimeters on top of that, gives you an idea of what depth you've got left inside that box there. I hope you can see that clearly enough as well. Moving along
Do you want to just show, pop that other layer in there at the bottom, Carl? And
oh, yes, sorry, yes. Thank you, Mark. That was the other thing, was with the split foam that we have, we found out that allows for people that have mixed height slots stock. So if you've got a high wagon or box fan or tank wagon of full height, and then you have minimal wagons or say a 5-plank wagon, you can just put that on top. Find that one there. There's a gunpowder wagon there, slightly shallower than a normal size wagon. So that will bring it up to height. When you remove the 35 millimeter base foam, it gives you that bit of exposure. So it allows you easy access to take the stock out of the box. So it's all about convenience and making it as easy as possible. As we said before, the clear sleeving that we produce as well, that's an added extra as well. So just once again, it just allows you easier access to take your stock in and out. People do worry about the footboards, brake rods, and just any sort of minor details. So with the sleeving, it just gives you that bit of peace of mind to make sure that nothing gets caught inside the foam and starts pulling bits off. So we've looked into that just as well. So we'll move over to this one here. This will be for the first box that we showed, which was the green box, which is the TSO 32. The width is not 61, it's 68 millimeters in width. We found that was needed or required for locomotives or coaching stocks, multiple units as well. And just to show you that, the depth of that for the main block of foam is 60 millimeters, and then the 35 millimeters on top, so it's almost full height to the stock. So when you remove that, once again, that top piece of foam with the slots, it gives you that exposure to lift the stock out with ease as well. Same thing with this locomotive, same thing again. It's in a clear sleeving, just eases out and back again. With something like a shunter where you've got connecting rods, complicated handrails and stuff like that, it just makes it slide in and out much more easier. And that's the concept of all of that, really. Any questions at all? Anything that's come up at all from anybody?
Not at the moment.
No? That just gives you an indication of all the different types of slots and widths, just to give you an idea of the different stock that you can put in one box. So each box, apart from the 20 litre box, which I'll show you as well, That's 60 millimeters in depth, and that will allow you to put mineral wagons, low loaders, bogey bolsters, 3-plank wagons, that sort of thing, really. So that's more based for the shallower wagons. That's the first box that I showed you with the shallow wagons inside that as well. So that would be the 20 litre, and that's how that will look as well. As a wagon just there, gunpowder wagon, just a little bit proud, but it just gives you the idea of what can go into that box there.
You mentioned earlier on, Carl, about the fact that the boxes contain a sachet of silica gel to prevent any moisture getting in. I'm guessing that the boxes themselves are pretty well airtight, are they?
Yeah, they're pretty good, actually. Yeah, I would say they're probably, say if you was caught in a shower, say if you was in an exhibition and you're running to and from your van or anything, they're pretty much shower proof. They won't get any moisture in because the lids overlap the actual base of the box as well. Yeah, I should think that'd be pretty good, but it's just that one thing. It's just it's there if it's needed, because if you got we have got many customers and friends that have got layouts that are in sheds or outside, so there's always that risk of any moisture coming in. And the nice thing about the silica gel is that it changes color, so it gives you an indication if there is a moisture problem. But it's just, once again, it's the tools are there if it's required, really.
So the box is pretty well sealed, as you say, Dave, but more equally importantly, the foam gives a good seal as well. And that makes it, once the lid is down, it kind of locks everything in. It kind of squeezes everything a little bit by about 5 or 6 millimeters, locks everything in place, and that is pretty airtight then. So it's a good seal.
And the nice thing about the latches on the side of the boxes as well is they do lock, so you can feel that's quite tight as well. Yeah. And if you was to lift the box accidentally without the handles, very secure. That won't come undone at all. So, but yes, the nice thing about the lid is that it does fold itself over, so it's, if it was to get wet in any way, shape or form, any moisture would sort of just run away and not get into the contents of the box as well. But I'd say that the silica gel there is just as a fallback, really, just in case.
Yeah. We ought to mention that the boxes are manufactured by a British company called the Really Useful Products Company, and they have their range of really useful boxes. We've opted for them because actually they seem to make the very best boxes that we can find for what we're looking for our particular product. British made, manufactured where possible. They use recycled plastics, certainly in some of the coloured range. The white boxes are pretty much all recycled plastic, and some of the clear ones are recycled as well where they can. The only thing that isn't, the foam is cut in the UK, but is imported. But that's the only bit that is imported. The boxes are all put together here down in Kent, and as you can see, there's quite a stock of them behind Carl at the moment. But we've been really pleased with the way these have been moving out from the warehouse, and more importantly, we're thrilled with the feedback that we've been getting. One of the things that we do pride ourselves in is listening to what people that have bought from us have said to us and suggested to us. And on a couple of occasions, we've made adjustments. We've improved the cardboard, for example, that we use when we ship the boxes. We've put an extra layer of cardboard in now because we were getting a lot of lid damage and handle damage in the first shipment. Whilst we very carefully check them and have a high quality assurance process here when we put them all together, unfortunately, when they're handled in transit, they're not always handled as well as we would like. And so what we found is by adding an extra layer of card inside, we haven't actually had any breakages since we started to do that. So that saves any disappointment for any of our customers. We've always been very good at replacing lids and handles or anything that's been broken, normally within 24 hours. The products are typically shipped within 48 hours from the order. And And as Carl has said, I think when Carl showed the label, unfortunately the camera was showing everything in reverse at this end. So just to recap, that 10% discount, which anyone can get either today or tomorrow, is there. You'll have to. It's back to front.
Is it?
Yeah.
No, only to you, Mark. It's back to front to the presenter, but it's the right way around to everybody else. I can assure you of that.
Thank you very much. So just to be clear, that's GOG06. So it's Gauge O Guild 06 for the 6th of March. And that's the code to use today if you're purchasing any product from us today.
Yeah, and we can take orders, over the phone as well. We know that not everybody might not have access to the internet, or if they want to give us a call on our telephone number, we're very happy to speak to people, whether it's inquiries or whether they want to make an order.
Yeah, actually, that's quite a nice point. Dave, would you mind bringing up our website for us to share with everybody?
Yes, I'll do that. I was just thinking, I guess that the manufacturers of these boxes have taken into account in determining the size of them that they would stack nicely side by side in an average family-sized car.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
There's nothing more frustrating than when you're trying to load a load of boxes into your car and you find that if the car were 3 inches wider, they'd fit in nicely, but not always the case.
And what we've done is we've chosen, I don't know if you can see it, Carl will bring that into the picture now, we've chosen a footprint which where the box is stacked, so you can see a 20 litre on top of the 33 litre there. Interestingly, a lot of people use other sizes, so these ones marry with the 20, the 33, the 50 litre, the 64 litre, and the 84 litre. Really useful boxes as well. So you can get quite a lot in there, and it's amazing how many we squeeze into Tony's A-Class Mercedes at times. It's amazing we squeeze him in to even drive the thing around, but it's because they lock together. When you're traveling with them, they're also pretty safe as far as not shifting in transit and keeping everything safe. Okay, so Dave's brought up the website there. It's an e-commerce website, so you can order straight from the website, and that comes straight through to us here. And as I say, we normally dispatch within 24 or 48 hours as quickly as we can. If you want to, you can also send us a message via the messenger option that you have on the screen there. And you can see you've got a selection of details about the boxes. Dave, could I ask you to go into, if you could scroll down for me, just so that I can see what the options are. Yeah, if you could go into the boxes option for me, please. That's it. Perfect. Great. And if you could scroll down a little bit, you get an increasing amount of information as you scroll down. So as you move down, you'll start to see some examples of the different layers. So the top one there in yellow, that's a 20 litre box. You can see 4 slots there, and you've got the measurements there. And again, the green one below it, you've got the base on that one is 25 mil thick, and then you've got a 60 millimetre layer below that, just above that, sorry, and then a 35 mil layer above that, and then finally another 25 mil layer in there. And that's often used by people with heavier vehicles, heavier locomotives. For example, we've got one particular customer that uses it to lug around 4 class 50 Helgians, which are, as we all know, pretty heavy, and he's not had any problems with that at all. Could we go to perhaps one of the other pages now, please, Dave? The next one along, please.
Sure.
Yes, please. on here, it's a simple method. You just click what you want, put down the numbers, and that automatically loads up, and you have a basket. And at the end, you can either pay with PayPal or with a credit card. You also have other sections on the website where you've got exact measurements of the actual slots and the heights and everything else to go with them, including the dimensions of the boxes in case you wanted to make sure that they would fit in your vehicles or whatever you're carrying them.
Or under your layouts.
Yeah, or under your layouts. Or under the beds or wherever you want to stick them. That's great. Thank you very much indeed, Dave. Now, actually, if you would hold that page just for a moment, you will see there are 2 boxes there for the 00 gauge. I know many of us model in multiple gauges. So we've got an orange and a purple. The orange has got a solid center, just one piece in the center, but the purple has a two-piece center. So it's got a similar sliced design to make it easier to get models in and out. And it's really personal preference, what one you want to use. They all hold the models extremely well and extremely, I wouldn't say extremely firmly, but nice and firmly. And as Carl has said, when you put that sleeving around the outside, you protect all of the little handles and anything else that might be on their running boards that could easily get damaged if you were to just pull them in and out without any protection. The foam we use in particular is, we've been working with this foam actually for over 11 years. And we also use it for transmitting electronic equipment and electronic chassis around. And the good thing is that it doesn't damage any paintwork. It doesn't excrete any oil or any of that kind of material. And I think earlier on, Dave was describing some of the foam that you get where it decays with ultraviolet light, some of the foam that you get in settees and chairs and that kind of material. We don't get any of that with this material, and we can't afford to get any of that because with clear boxes, the sun will obviously be shining straight on them, and we don't get any discoloration. And as I said earlier, the foam doesn't affect the paintwork of the models either. It's not as hard as some of the materials that you see from some of the manufacturers. Some of it, the guys were describing in the previous session that we had earlier on today, is so hard you almost have to pause. Dave, would you mind, actually, I think it was you that was sharing your experience with some of the harder foam that some people have been using and the damage that can cause.
Yes, as I explained earlier, in one of my previous existences, I had a job of repairing locos that had been returned to the manufacturers because they were damaged. But the damage was usually caused by, or caused when the owner of the locomotive attempted to remove it from the very tight, almost rubber-like stuff inside the box. You know, there was a cutout which was the exact profile of the locomotive, and it was a really tight fit in this this material, which wasn't as soft as the foam that we've just been looking at. It was more of a very dense, almost rubber-like material. And the only way you could get a locomotive out of its aperture was to stick your fingers inside the cab and pull upwards. And of course, the result of that was you pulled the cab side off the running plate, or the cab roof would come apart. So most of the damage that was caused was really the manufacturers were to blame because of the way that the things were packed in the boxes when they shipped them out. They'd obviously never heard of your material.
Well,
Mark.
if you could switch back to the camera, please, Dave. I think Carl would just show you a bit more in close detail at the foam that we actually use and the ease with which you can sort of squeeze it apart to get your
Yeah.
And the nice thing about the foam is when you put a bit of pressure on it, it just forms its shape back again.
Yeah.
So, and it's nice and soft. This is just one of the top 35mm layers, one of the blocks that comes out, and that's just once again to show you as we call them, snap-offs that you can use for buffering stock together in each slot.
The snap-offs are of various sizes, just to help put things between the boxes. One of the questions we were asked earlier was how many wagons can we get in a box? One of the things that we want to do going forward is to produce some train sets made up of prototypical formations. And so, for example, we might choose to use some of the press throws from Ellis Clark that he's got coming up soon. We're talking to him about that. And that would mean that we could fit 16 wagons, so 16 press flows into the slots that we have. The length of the slots in total is 560 millimeters in length for the O gauge boxes. On the double O gauge boxes, I'll just mention that they, instead of running the length of the box, they run horizontally across the box because obviously those coaches aren't as long. But you can still get a Mark 5 in there, Mark 3, whatever you want. Some of the longer wagon, some of the longer coaches in there. Even some of the sprinters that you get, which are pretty long. And normally you can get a locomotive and tender in that slot. So the intention is that we will put together some train sets made up of prototypical formations, as I say. That also gives us the option to select from different manufacturers and gives you the benefit of having a true prototypical piece from various manufacturers. We'll be using the best locomotives and the best rolling stock that we can to give that effect. And finally, we'll also supply the original boxes to you, so you can pop those up in the loft, safe and sound. So if you don't ever decide to sell any of it, you've always got it available. But in the meantime, your boxes are safely stored away and safely able to be transported to wherever you want, club layouts or home layouts or exhibitions. And that's one of the things that we've got coming up in the future. So keep your eyes open for that. We do also get asked about different options. So one of the other things that we might be looking at going forward is for anybody that's interested in slot cars and that kind of stuff, is hosting some slot car boxes as well. But the name Trainsporters is the name of the business, and that's there because that's our passion. And albeit we're a double O gauge, actually we also have end stock and O gauge stock coming out of our rear rolls. So like everybody else, we're in multiple gauges at the same time.
You can just do a quick demonstration with the double O just to show you the comparison of how many boxes.
Yeah, that'd be
really good. Yeah.
All I can say, Mark, is that if anybody has got enough rolling stock to fill all those boxes standing behind Carl there, then that's some layout.
Well, there is a layout. We went to Kettering. So as Carl has mentioned before, Kettering last year was our first layout exhibition that we went to, and our last, because after that we all got locked down. Yep. But there was somebody there with a particular layout. So, guys, do you remember which one it was? What was the layout?
The layout that's behind us was run by Gordon Humphreys.
Yeah, what was it called?
Yes, it was called Anatomy of a Layout. Well, he had two. He had an Anatomy of a Layout, and then he had another. That was a sort of how to build it. I think it started from bare baseboards up to fully phoenixed. But then he had another one. I can't remember. I ought to know because I'm the manager of the Kettering Show, of course, and I booked him. So,
well, put it this way.
I know the one you mean. It's quite a big layout.
It is, and they had 10 of these boxes in one go.
Yeah.
10 was it? 13.
He's had 6. We had a pre-order, didn't we? 10 for another layout.
That was Love Lane. That was
Love Lane. So Love Lane have got 10 of the boxes, and Grindley Brook between them, the club members there, we must have got about 20 of these boxes out for them. And so yeah, and the great thing is as Carl said, they stack nicely. So when you're at an exhibition, they stack away nicely with your individuals' names on the side. So there's no arguing. In you go, lids off, pop them back.
The other thing you have to, take into account is the fact that if you've got let's say half a dozen locos, which can cost anything up to £2,000 or £3,000, and some of the ready to run or kit built, you've had them professionally built coaches are up in the hundreds. You can have a few thousand quid's worth of stock that you've got to transport. And the last thing you want to be doing is wrapping it in newspaper and stuffing it into a cardboard box.
Yeah, we do see that from time to time. In fairness, those people that have had the very expensive locomotives, for example, do tend to have dedicated wooden boxes for those. But what we found is that more and more people are putting ready-to-run locomotives in our boxes because they are very, very durable and a very safe way of carrying their stock around.
I'll tell you a very quick story. This is a true story, and the gentleman is sadly now deceased, but he was an avid collector of Astor Gauge 1 locomotives, and he was a man of some wealth, so he had pretty much the entire collection, you know, every model they ever produced. One of which was an American big boy.
Ah, yeah.
Not only was it, well, he had two of them. One of which, can you believe this, was gold plated.
Wow.
And he said, we were at his place, and somebody said, "Can we have a look at your gold plated big boy?" "Oh yes," he said, and he grovelled around underneath the bench, and he lifted this thing up, and it was wrapped in newspaper. That's the absolute truth. That must have cost, I don't know, 9,000-10,000 quid probably.
Yeah.
And it was on the floor wrapped in newspaper.
That doesn't surprise us. We've seen some quite amazing things when we've been to.
Well, when I first joined the club, and I say I'm 00, but I turned up with Sainsbury's and Tesco's bags of all my stock, and I think I was the last one, or they had to book the church hall for an extra hour because it took me so long to put everything away again.
Yeah, those days are long gone, thank you.
Yes, thank goodness for these boxes. But that was the concept of why we put this whole thing together, really, because it's from our own experiences. Yeah.
Sorry, David.
Uh,
We've got a question from David Muirhead, who's just joined us, having come in sort of partway through. He's asking, can you supply the partition pieces to isolate individual wagons?
So the answer is yes, but we don't need to supply them separately because they come with the boxes. So when you get the box, it's almost entirely filled with foam, and all you do, Carl, can you just show that section over there again? That's it. Just show. So each of the slots is filled with these sections there that pop out, and they've got pre-cuts in them so that you can cut them to whatever. Or I pull them apart, or just cut them with a sharp knife, and it's very simple, very straightforward to do. And then you cut them, and your models that don't sort of move at all laterally once they're in there. And Carl's going to show you an example of that now.
Thank you.
So initially, when you start off with, it's a block of foam. It says that it's all been cut out, ready for you.
Just take one of those out.
Yeah.
Right.
This is a 20-litre box, so it's the shallow one. So there you go. That's your blocks there.
All the same. It's all the same principle.
Yeah.
They all come out. They laser cut the slots, so they're pretty precise. And yeah, and they go back in nice and tightly. So
yeah. The nice thing about the foam is that it does latch onto each other, so it's very firm. So if you had a gap of any kind, it would be quite stable on its own, even if there's a gap either side of it as well. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's very interesting. Thank you. Really interesting concept. And looking at what you're presenting here, it seems to be one of the better ones, at least, that I've seen for transporting models around, and much more convenient as well than packing them away in boxes or Tesco bags even.
Yeah.
It saves an awful lot of time.
Other supermarkets are available.
Oh, sorry, I missed the disclaimer.
No problem.
Anyway, we're coming to the end of the presentation now. So I'd like to thank Carl and Mark once again for another interesting and informative and entertaining presentation. Do visit their website, which I think is it just mail transporters.com?
Yeah, transporters.com. And it's a play on transporters, obviously, just trains
Oh, yes,
in that way. And
even I'd work that one out.
Yeah. It's just some people forget to put the I in. That's all, Dave.
Yeah.
But once you get there, it's all electronic, and you can order whatever you want. And as I say, we normally ship it out for 24 hours.
You can also call us as well. We have got a telephone number. It's 0333 40 40 811. We'll be happy to speak to anybody. If we don't pick up the phone straight away, we'll always make sure we'll call you back as soon as possible. But we're quite happy to speak to people on the phone as well, so that is available.
That number's on the website.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody, and let's hope it's not too long before we can meet up in the flesh, as it were.
Can I just thank the Gajo Guild for having us along today on a couple of sessions. Very much appreciated. This is the third visit that we've had, and we enjoy it every time. So thank you all very much.
Thanks, guys.
Well, that has been recorded, but I'll pass it on by way of an email as well, Mark. So
I'll ping a note.
Thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thank you.
And I bid you all good afternoon.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.